Hey guys, what's up? Griff here. So normally we do like a monthly bait option thing, like so best baits for February, best baits for January, whatever it is. But today I just wanted to talk about the pre-spawn, right? So, and the reason I want to talk about it is because we're there, right? So we're in like full pre-spawn swing at most of our lakes and rivers. So I just want to talk about like what is the pre-spawn? What is pre-spawn, Jeff?
Pre-spawn is pre-spawning.
Yeah, it's the time before the spawn.
Right before the spawn.
Yeah, so when these bass are in their winter holds, they kind of just sit around being lazy, trying to save as much energy as they can, right? But now, as the water warms up, things are happening in the water, right? Crawfish are starting to come out, bait fish are starting to group up in bigger groups and stuff like that. And then these fish are getting ready for their next phase, which is going to be the spawn. Yeah. Right? So anytime after the winter until the actual spawn is the pre-spawn.
Yeah, so, you know, in some places that's a couple weeks. Yeah. Some places that's just like 1 week. Yeah. You know, depending on the warm trend, right? Yeah. And so if you have, I mean, the most important thing is to watch your water temperatures. Yeah. Right, so you can have the water temperature be 53 to 55, but then you get 1 week or a week and a half of like straight sun, no wind, and it's 70 to 80 degrees, and all of a sudden that water jumps all the way up to like 59, 60. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, the fish are like, oh, we're about to spawn, let's feed up and get ready to do our thing. Yeah, so those bass are just on a mission, right? They're trying to get fat, they're getting ready to spawn, because during the spawn, you know, male bass don't eat. So they're trying to get as fat as they can so they can just maintain while they're going through the spawn, right? The females are they're gonna pre-spawn a little bit longer because they're just trying to fatten up, again, to take care of the little babies, the eggs and stuff that are inside of them. So what happens to the fish activity during the pre-spawn? They get more active. Way more active. Yeah, so like a light switch. Yeah. You're out there fishing in the winter and you're just bored to death, right? It's just like, oh man, waiting for those 1 or 2 bites a day. Yep. Normally pretty good bites, but you're just waiting for them. And then now all of a sudden, the fish are just going nuts. Yeah, they're juiced. Yeah, juiced up, ready to go. They're just on that. They're on that mission. They're fat. Yeah. They're shallow. Yep. And I like this time of year because there's not a whole lot of people out there on the water yet. Yeah, they're still waiting. Everybody waits till the actual spawn. So they can get their hero status, right? Like, oh man, I caught an 8-pounder this year. Yeah. Okay, we get it. All right. Yeah. You went bed fishing in the spring. But yeah, so what are they gonna eat? So I feel like during the pre-spawn you just have a plethora of choices. Absolutely. Yeah. Right? You can go from small baits to big baits, fast. I don't usually move very slow in the pre-spawn. I'm trying to catch as many fish as I can. I'm throwing baits. Yep. So let's just talk about my favorite baits to throw in the pre-spawn. Let's get into it. All right. So I'm gonna start off with a jerkbait. Okay. Right. That makes sense. Throwing the jerkbait is something that we're doing throughout the winter. Yeah. But now we're just gonna fish it a little bit more aggressive, right? So my favorite 2 jerkbaits to throw are gonna be the Varuna and the 110 +1. Yeah, the full size 110, not the junior. I talk about the junior often, but for me, the full size right now, just because it's getting a little deeper and it's going to present a bigger profile. So those winter bass were just used to eating bigger things. Right. Yep. And now you're going to present them the same similar sizes but faster. Yes. Right. So it's going to be like your 9-10 foot diver right there. Oh yeah. And then this Varuna is going to get about 8 foot. So on heavier line. Yeah, on heavier line. And then finesse working on this one, super aggressive on this one, right? And yes, you can work the 110 aggressively, but it's not made for that, right? Like super soft pops on slack line, and you can go, you know, super fast, but soft pops every single time on slack line. You know, the Varuna, you're just like whack, whack, just whipping it, hitting it. Yeah. And they're gonna have that same similar action, but you know, the Varuna is just gonna move a little bit more. This 110 is gonna. So there you go. I really like these 2 options. There's a ton of colors, so whatever waters you're fishing in, the colors that imitate the bait the best for you guys, there you go. Also,
you know, like I said, crawfish are starting to come out.
Yes.
Right? You'll start seeing it happening if you got clear water. Like the crawfish are digging themselves in the mud. They're going deep into the rocks, and all of a sudden you'll just start seeing them coming out.
Yes.
And that's why those bass are kind of like, if you ever go to like an early morning spot where you have a lot of rocks on the bank, those bass are like
facing in, right?
Facing in, just waiting. Like, oh, someone's gonna come out.
Yeah.
Someone's coming. Right?
Yep.
And I like to throw the sleeper craw in that situation, right? In shallow water, next to rock, grass, stuff like that. I really like throwing this one right here because it's simple to use. It's rigged. It's all ready to go. I can move it super slow. I can fish it like a football jig. I can pop it. I can do a lot of different things with it. So that's my choice for craw imitation.
Okay.
Right?
Nothing that has a whole lot of action, right?
Yeah, it doesn't do a whole lot.
No.
I can sit it on the ground and it'll just, the claws will kind of come up and move, right? And at the beginning of the pre-spawn, it's very important to not get super crazy.
Yeah, you get too crazy with it, the fish are like, whoa, that crawdad's spazzing.
Yeah, I'm not messing with it.
I'm not messing with that.
Yeah, find me a slow guy.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just the way that crawfish move, right? They're super slow at the beginning.
Yes.
And then they get a little bit more aggressive towards the actual spawn.
Yeah.
Right? I also like to throw an A-rig.
A-rig.
Yeah, the A-rig is another bait that we're using all through the winter time. But I like to downsize my A-rig.
Oh, really?
All right. So I've been having a lot of fun with this one here. So
those liberos?
I'm just using the heads off the libero.
Sick.
Right? And then I'm using this Huddle Swimmer 2-inch. There.
Super finesse.
Yeah, super finessey on a full-size A-rig too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right? So I'm casting out there and I'm still moving it slow. This thing doesn't have a ton of action. The bigger Huddle Swimmers are actually my favorite A-rig bait. But with this one, since we just got these in, I was trying it out. I'm catching a ton of fish on it. I really, really like it. Super small. That little Huddleston style tail that it has on there.
Yep.
Right? It just barely moves. So it kicks a little bit, draws their attention from the blades, and they just eat it up.
It is crazy that, you know, every once in a while when I'm out there, you'll see like the shad that they're feeding on, and they're like 2 inches.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
It's interesting, but you'll see them on your graph, and it's massive bait balls. But then you finally see the shad, and they're like, oh, they're like 2 and 3 inch shad.
Yeah.
And they're like killing those things.
Yeah, they're
but
just
the shad aren't moving anything crazy. So they're not like fleeing super fast. They're kind of just in a bait bowl, kind of doing like slow circles.
Yeah, they're still a little bit lethargic.
Yes.
Right. So our shad die off when it gets too cold.
Yeah.
So they're probably just trying to recover from that, right?
Right.
Like they're almost dead, and then they're just like, all right, I got some life left.
Yeah, come on.
And then they just eating. Right. Yeah. And it is very strange because most of the time, this time of year, the bait fish is as big as it's going to get.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're about to spawn too.
Yes.
So you know a lot of adult-sized bait fish are out. And you know they spawned last year.
You're right.
So seeing those little guys are just the guys that aren't growing.
Yes.
Right. So I really like to go with that. I like that color right there. It's pretty natural for me. But again, your waters are going to be different than mine. Pick a color that works for you. All right. So A-rig. This is the Hog Farmer Mop Duece. We use it a lot here because it's already set up for us. We're only allowed 2 hooks, but if you're allowed more, choose the A-rig that works best for you also.
Yep.
All right. If you want to go with like a smaller rig, we also have these.
That's right. Yes.
The blade's cool. So if you look in the back, it's just a little kit that you can put together. It makes a little small rig with only 1 bait on it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
And then those blades are different sizes, so they represent different size fish, stuff like that. I always say represent instead of imitate.
I think either one works, right? Represent.
Yeah. I mean, in my head, I'm saying imitate, but it comes out as represent.
I never went to college, so.
Yeah. I have 3 degrees. Still can't get it right. All right. And then a classic, your all-season bait
there it is
a crankbait.
Yes, sir.
Right. And I am going to go with a Blitz Max because of that, because the bait fish should be at its biggest size.
Yeah.
This is probably still going to be smaller than our big threadfin shad.
Yep. Yep.
But it's going to be bigger than like a EXDR, have the same action, and you guys are going to be able to pick a color.
Size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are going to pick a color that matches what you guys are doing. You know, your match the hatch stuff. I love a lot of whites. Ginrin is one of my top colors right there. Max DR gets bit in the pre-spawn, and then you never really have to put it down.
No.
Shad spawn, I'll switch to a smaller one.
Okay.
But during the bass spawn, boom, Max DR. And everybody knows the bait.
You know, I think with, you know, those crankbaits is, you know, the times that I've thrown crankbaits in the pre-spawn is I've thrown them basically all the way up on the bank, and I'll get like 3 or 4 cranks in and I'm on.
Yeah.
So even though the water's still kind of cold, those fish are willing to go shallow to feed.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, even with the crankbait, it's just a good way to like cover that anywhere from that 2 foot all the way down to 10 foot on a stretch of bank where you're like, I know that this is like a pre-spawn flat where they're going to be spawning somewhere in this area, but they're going to be feeding up here first, looking for those crawdads or the shad that are pushed up, and it's a great time to throw a crankbait, just really shallow.
And this is a crankbait that you can work shallow. Yeah. Right?
It deflects so well.
You're working down those ledges or those, you know, those steep points. The Blitz, I mean, you can run on Blitz Max DR in 3 feet of water and be okay.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. You know, you're not going to burn it, like, you're not going to dig it into the rocks, but it's very easy to do it. All right, there you go. One bait that I really like to do is I like to use a shad bait. It's a cast and kind of pull or sweep with your rod. I can put it on a whip sinker and drag it in deep water. Something about these baits, that the action of them just drives fish crazy. All right, so 9 months out of the year I have a high cut tied on, but once we get into this season I'm gonna go with an eye by eye. All right, something about how flat it is, and it's just gonna be a little more subtle coming through the water, and I don't think it's gonna affect I think the high cut will kind of scare the fish more than this one will, right? Because it's just a little bit more subtle, especially at the beginning of pre-spawn, right?
Yeah.
So pre-spawn beginning, you know, you're gonna have to work your way into like the craziness, right? Because those bass, you know, they got to get used to the temperatures as they're rising daily and stuff like that. So eye by eye shad, the TX is the newest version. This allows me to get pretty deep, all right? So it's gonna be like a 12-foot diver on like 10 pound. All right. A lot of guys are throwing it on light line, 6-pound test. I love to throw my whips on light line. They're always making fun of me, but I like it. All right, eye by eye TX. Get down there in the depths, fish it super slow, work it fast. Find the action that's working for you and is attracting those bass. So another crankbait that I like to use is going to be the Z3.
It's a good one.
Yeah, Z3 is another all-season crankbait. It's just got a small profile on there, but I like to use it in the gills and the craws, right? And that's what it came out with. A lot of gill patterns, a lot of craw patterns. Justin did an amazing job designing these colors right here. But this is their deep diver. It's gonna go 4.3, it's about 13 foot.
It's really deep.
Yeah. And then it's gonna have a lot more action, a lot more side to side than the Blitz.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the Blitz is a little bit flatter, but this one's gonna have a lot more, so I really like those. Z3. Boom. You ever use Z3?
I haven't actually. I've seen guys catch them though, pre-spawn.
I catch a ton of fish on this.
Smallmouth and largemouth.
Yeah. Oh, smallmouth. Whew. Caught a shit ton of smallmouth yesterday.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And then, as this pre-spawn progresses, these bass are gonna go shallow because the bait fish is gonna move shallow, right? So I like to throw a topwater, right? And wow, we're throwing topwater, right? So I love to throw the popper.
Okay.
Right. The Louder 60 is a popper that allows me to work it really slow, because this is not your walking popper. You're gonna pop it. It's gonna chuck a bunch of water in the air. It's got this crazy rattle in there, and you're gonna get the bloops really good. So it's gonna have a consistent, like bloop, bloop, super consistent, as long as you're not working it too fast. All right. It's got this crazy shaped mouth. And what that's gonna do is every time you pop it, that water's gonna rotate in there, it's gonna fly out. And then it's gonna throw water, right? I feel like every time a bait throws water, it looks like shad scattering on the surface.
Yep.
The fish, you plop it, throws the water, the fish look up, and it looks like just madness going on up there. And they gotta investigate because they're bass, right?
Yep.
They're gonna investigate as a loud rattle, right? And then again, the bloops are really loud.
Yeah.
super sick bait. If you really want to work and cover, like you have like trees sticking up or something like that, you really want to cover it, grass patches, stuff like that, this is a good one because you can move it really slow. It's not super boring to use. It's exciting because it gets bit and it creates violent bites.
Yes. Yeah.
So Louder 60, but it does come in a 50, a 60, and a 70.
Oh wow.
So there you go. And then if I want to walk popper, I'm gonna go with a Pop X. All right. And Pop X is the same way. It's got that consistent movement. I'm never really popping this one.
Oh really? Okay.
Pop X, Pop Max.
Just walking.
I'm walking, but this one's gonna be a slower walk.
Got it.
Walk, 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 and it drives bats crazy. They eat it.
Yeah.
They eat it up, especially like on the river.
They smoke it.
Yeah, smoke it. Boom. Pop X from Megabass. It's not a bait that's a hidden secret. Everybody knows about it, but right now I feel like it's the best time to throw it. So boom. All right, Jeff. Come into some exciting stuff.
Okay.
Right? So a lot of people are gonna throw swim baits.
Yes.
Right. I like to start with a Magdraft.
Magdraft's a good
right? one. Magdraft, and fishing like cliff walls, tree lanes, grass lanes and stuff like that. Running a Magdraft at Magdraft speed, just right next to cover or structure. The bass really seem to like it.
They come unglued on it.
Yeah, they really eat it up. And right now is the best time for me to be throwing it. I can't explain it.
Yeah.
It just happens.
I think pre-spawn's one of the best times to throw a big swim bait, just because a lot of those females are looking just for one meal. So when they roam in shallow and they see something that's a little bit larger, they're more willing to hit it.
Yeah.
And so your chances of actually catching on the swim bait instead of just getting followers or them not even looking at it just are much higher this time of year.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, pre-spawn's my favorite time.
Yeah, definitely. And I always start here, and then I move on to other stuff as as the progression happens.
Yes.
Like when you're seeing males on beds, but those females are still pre-spawning, still trying to fatten up. I like to go to a hard glide bait.
Okay.
Or just a glide bait in general. Right. The IMA Glide Fluke.
Oh, okay.
Right. For me, this is one that I can move really, really fast.
Yeah.
But it's got a true glide to it.
It's very easy to work.
Yeah.
I was surprised by how easy it was to get it to glide.
Yeah. There's no really work to it. Like it's called a glide fluke.
Yes.
So kind of like that.
That and it gives you a hard side to side.
Yeah. That soft jerkbait action to it. But this one right here comes in a bunch of sick colors.
Yep.
2 different sizes, sinking and floating.
Yeah.
I like to run the sinking because a lot of those bass are still sitting low. So, and then you can get this one into like 20 foot easy.
Oh yeah, I used to sink out the sinking one.
They sink really fast.
Very fast, yes.
Yeah. And you can just twitch, pause, twitch, pause.
Yep.
And if you go to Plez, the stripers.
Bro, yeah. Probably smoke that thing down there.
They eat it up, dude. And then this one is probably about as big as our biggest threadfin shad is going to be.
Yep.
And then you get into some small gizzard type things.
Right. Yep.
Right. So there's that one right there. Here's another one that no one really talks about.
Yeah, that's true.
The Antidote
The
glide.
Antidote.
Right. So the Antidote glide from Baitsanity was probably like one of my first like consistent glide baits that I actually caught fish on. Like I had caught fish on glide baits. I really didn't understand why or how I was catching them.
Yeah.
But once I sat down with this Antidote, this is years ago.
Oh yeah, at this point.
Yeah. I really just started watching what the bait was doing. I'm gonna take it all the way out of the package because it's a package, but I mean.
And this is the smaller cousin of the Explorer Glide.
Yes. 7.5 inches, 2.7 ounces.
Very reasonable bait to throw.
Yeah, reasonable. It's light. You can cast it out and you can work it real slow. It has a really methodical glide to it.
Yeah.
You can work it slow. You can twitch it. You will want to play with these with the weight on here because it does tend to come up a little bit. But at $29.99, I mean it's hard to beat it, right? Yeah. So price great. It does catch fish.
Yep.
It's lightweight. You're not going to need super specialized gear for it.
No.
Maybe a rod, but any reel's going to be able to handle this, right? So, and it comes in all kinds of colors, right? And then slow sink and super slow sink.
Okay.
So Antidote Glide from Baitsanity, great choice. And then 2 staple glides that I feel like everybody should have in their boxes.
Yeah.
Right? Jointed Claw 178, Islide 178 or 187R.
Yep.
Right? 2 gray glides, and again, these are gonna do the same thing. You're gonna have multiple ways to work them.
Yep.
You get them super fast,
slow, straight retrieve.
They can do it all.
Yep.
Right?
You can play with weighting on them too.
Yeah.
Really easily.
Change fall rates, suspend rates, all that stuff. You've probably caught fish on both of these this year.
Yeah.
Right? Or last year.
Yeah.
Right?
I love those baits.
Yeah.
They're in the perfect size range. They're not too intimidating, but they still have a lot of drawing power to them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they're like
a perfect blend.
Yeah, like right there.
Yes.
So, there you go. Jointed Claw 178, Islide 187R. 2
Other good
great
options.
choices.
Yeah.
Right? And then, on the soft plastic glide side, the Osakana 170.
Oh, yeah.
Right? This is like the cheater glide.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone can catch a fish on it the first time they go out.
Yeah, super easy to work. You can fish it anywhere and everywhere. You can skip it, you can burn it, straight retrieve. You can do so many different things with it. It's a perfect size.
Yeah.
And they eat it. And it's a very fun bait to start to figure out where it works best for you.
Yeah, and then how to rig it. You can change the rigging on it. It's a line through.
Yep.
So you're not going to lose a ton of fish.
The durability is much more, it's better than people probably think. Too.
Yeah, it definitely is pretty durable. I think I still have that one when we all went out.
Oh, yeah?
We're all in like different places at the same day, and we're all just like, did you catch any? Yeah, I got some.
Yeah,
I got some too. Oh, I got one now.
I think the first sample one that we fished, I think we're still running with that one, and that one has probably 20 fish on it now at this point.
Yeah, teeth marks all over
Gnarly stuff, dude.
Yeah, it's all scratched up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it works really, really well.
Yes.
Largemouth and smallmouth
Yep.
eat it up. So this has been one that I've had a lot of good days with. Right out of the package, it floats.
Yes.
So I like to cast it out near like grass.
Yep.
And pop it like a popper.
Yeah,
like,
that's
whoop,
sick.
And then they'll just come up and
And smoke it, yeah.
Yeah. So
a lot of different ways you can fish it.
Yeah, those bass getting ready to get on beds, as they're starting to make their beds and stuff like that, you just cast them over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Bloop. And they'll come get it.
Yeah.
They're not gonna like it being around there. Yeah. So there it is. The Osakana Slide 170. All right. That color right there is game over.
Yeah. All white, baby.
Yeah. And you just made a pretty sick video about this kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
That was a good video. I liked it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So those are going to be my top picks for the pre-spawn. I know there's plenty of other things.
Yeah.
I'm not doing a ton of soft plastic stuff right now.
Yep. Yep.
A lot of hard baits, a lot of shad imitations.
Yeah.
I think the only craw imitation I'm throwing is that sleeper craw.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Even though it might be a good idea in some places,
Right.
like if I went to fish the northern Colorado River, I'd probably just throw crawfish stuff.
Yeah.
Right. But regionally, pick what's going to work for you. I think these are some good choices right here. If you have any questions, just put them down in the comments. You got anything else, Jeff?
I think locating the pre-spawn spots is also pretty important to choose. Like, all right, I'm gonna fish this grass flat, so I'm not gonna throw a crankbait into grass, or
right.
I guess you can, but you could throw like a chatterbait or a lipless into it. Or if you're gonna fish straight rock, or if you're gonna fish just a mud or sandy bottom. So just figuring out on your mapping or on your pond or lake or wherever you're fishing at, where those spawning areas are gonna be. Don't fish the spawning areas just yet, but fish the structure or cover that may be on the outside of those spots.
Spots leading to
leading to it.
Yeah, because they will move in phases.
They're gonna move in phases, yeah.
Wow.
So you're just looking for them right before that. And so that could be in a ditch, that could be on a point, that could be on a wide variety of different things leading into the back of a cove or a cut or something like that. And those are where those fish are going to be at this time of year. And don't be afraid to go deeper or go shallower.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to throw a topwater. Right. Even though you might be thinking like, oh, the water's way too cold. Dude, fish don't care. I've seen fish eat topwater in like 53-degree water temperature. I
was throwing a popper for like 6 hours yesterday.
Yeah.
I didn't catch any fish on it, but I was throwing it.
Yeah.
I was trying my hardest.
Yeah.
I want that bite to go so bad, and I feel like we're right there.
Oh yeah, it's easily right there. So it's definitely something to look at. This is a very fun time of year to get out there. You have a good shot at catching the biggest fish of your life this time of year as well.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all going to be fat. You're going to catch those 5 pound, 19 inches.
Yeah, just super gorge, bro.
Yeah.
So it's a fun time of the year. Get out there and give it a shot.
All right, guys. There it is. So on behalf of everybody here, Ben, myself, Jeff, thank you for watching. Thank you for your business. Go out there and catch some pre-spawn bass.